Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. I'm Pooja, your science teacher from Vista's Learning. I welcome you all for Vista's Learning. In today's session, what are we going to learn? As you all can see here, some natural phenomena. So this is the chapter that we all are going to learn today. So what is it? So we all know that there are so many things which are happening in and around us, right? So recently we all have gone through so many natural phenomena which are occurring. The cyclone effects that you all have heard of, isn't it? And also not only that, we have seen many other natural phenomena which occur in the nature. What are they? May it could be the tsunamis, the lightning or the earthquake. Like this, there are many of the natural phenomena which are actually destructive, isn't it? They actually cause a lot of damage to our whole property and also the environment and also the living beings. So in today's chapter and in today's session, let us try to understand what are these effects that are happening and how can we control them, what are the causes for them. So as you all can see, whenever there is actually a wire which is loose, there is a huge wind which is blowing and there is a wire which is actually loose. So what happens that time? So you will be seeing a little of spark whenever that particular wire is moving. Not only that, in your home also, when you are actually, there is a socket which is actually loose. So whenever you are trying to plug in through that socket, what you see is a small amount of sparks like this, isn't it? So all these types of spark or the light or the heat which you actually get. So what are they? What is happening through them? So lightning is also an electric spark. So I hope you all have heard about lightning and also seen about the process which actually takes place when there is lightning. So when there is a huge rainfall, you all might have observed there is a thunderstorm which is happening and also the lightning. So what is that lightning? Where you will be seeing a crack-like structure which actually produces sound and also heat and light. So lightning is also an electric spark. So what we see in our home is actually a small amount of spark. But the lightning which takes place in the nature is on a larger scale. So it is not a small amount, it is on the larger scale. So lightning is an electric spark but on a huge scale. So this particular type of picture, I hope you all have seen in the pictures or in also the daily life whenever you are going outside in the rain. So this particular type of thing, we call that as lightning, isn't it? I hope you all now remember what is lightning. So the lightning is caused by the accumulation of charges in the clouds. So we were actually talking about whenever there is actually rain which is happening and this particular type of thunderstorm and lightning we will be seeing. So when is the rain that is going to come? When the clouds are very heavy, there would be a rainfall. So this particular type of charges that we all are talking about, they are actually present in the clouds. So as you all can see here, lightning is caused by the accumulation of charges in the clouds. So we will be talking about what are those charges. So what happens to those charges? What are the characteristics of those charges? All that we'll be learning. So the sparks that the Greeks knew about. So about these particular sparks, the Greeks already knew. So what did they know about that? And ancient Greeks knew as early 600 BC. So around 600 BC only, the Greeks were knowing about all these types of sparks and what are the lightning, what is the causes and everything. So when amber was rubbed with the fur, it attracted the light objects such as hair. So we all know that there is a small activity that all of us might have done. What is that? We will take a comb, that is a hair comb which we all are using in our day-to-day life. We will rub it with our dry hair. And if we take that particular comb near any of the piece of the paper, that particular paper will get attracted to the comb. Haven't you done this experiment before in your schools? Yes. Or in your home? Yes. So what is the process that is happening there? There are the charges which are present. The charges which are present on the one object are getting transferred to the another object. So around 1752, Benjamin Franklin, he is one of the scientists. So around 1752, Benjamin Franklin, an American scientist, showed that lightning and the spark from your clothes are essentially the same phenomena. So what is it related with the clothes? Whenever we are actually taking out the woolen or the polythene clothes, you all might have observed on your hand actually the hairs will stand, right? So why that process is happening? Because there is a transfer of charges that is taking place between those particular clothes and your body, that is the hand part and the hair. So it is a same process that is actually happening in the lightning. So whenever if you take off those clothes in darkness, and you will be able to see a small amount of spark, and also you can hear the sound of it. So this phenomenon is exactly same as you all can see in the lightning. So the next point is that charging by rubbing. So here we are going to talk about charging by rubbing. So let us try to understand about the characteristics of these charges. So what is it? The first one which we are seeing is the charging by rubbing. So how can we charge an object? By we rubbing it. So when a plastic refill is rubbed with a polythene, that is a plastic refill. So let us take a plastic refill. So we will be rubbing that particular plastic refill with the polythene cloth. So it acquires a small electric charge. Similarly, when a plastic comb is rubbed with the dry hair, it acquires a small charge. These objects are called as charged objects. So I just now told you all an example about the comb and a hair, right? Similarly, we all might have seen the refills in our pen. So take out a refill and rub it with a polythene cloth, and if you take that particular refill with any of the nearby object, the charges which are present in that refill will get transferred to the other object. So these type of objects, that is the hair, the plastic comb, and also the plastic refill, all these will get charged when we rub them against our dry hair or a woolen cloth or a polythene cloth. So such objects are called as what? Charged objects. So such objects are charged objects. And the next thing is the types of charges and their interaction. So we all might have observed and also heard about this particular topic, right? It is very much familiar to all of us. So what is it then? So you all know that there are two types of charges. One is the positive charges and the one is the negative charge. So we differentiate these charges like that. So how do we get to know that whether it is a positive charge, negative charge, or how do we come to a conclusion that there are two different types of charges? And also, what happens to the objects? What are the characteristics of those charges? Let us try to understand. So what is happening here is, so here you all can see two balloons, right? I have taken two balloons and I'm hanging those two balloons like this. So what are we doing? So we have taken two balloons, we have tied them to the two different knots, and make sure there is a separation between these two particular balloons, and those two balloons are not rubbing with each other. Then what do? We will take actually a woolen cloth and we will take one of the balloon and we will rub that particular balloon with the woolen cloth. Make sure you will not burst the balloon. We have to be very careful and rub this particular balloon with the woolen cloth. Both the balloons you will be rubbing it with the woolen cloth. So then what happens? In the previous topic, we understood that we can charge these particular objects by rubbing, right? Yes. So I'm rubbing this particular object with a woolen cloth. So there is a charging that is going to take place. Yes. So what happens after the charging then? So as you all can see here, so particularly whenever we are rubbing all those particular types of things. So we have already rubbed these two balloons with a woolen cloth. And what is happening? When you bring these two balloons close together, they are actually repelling with each other, isn't it? So the difference which you all can see here. So as you all can see here, these two balloons are here. So this particular balloons, there is a difference here. They both are standing next to next. But what happens in this particular thing? We have already rubbed it with the woolen cloth. So these two are repelling each other. It is going this way and it is going this way, isn't it? Why it is happening? Because we all know and also remember one of the property of charges. What is it? That is, like charges repel each other. If two charged objects are repelling each other, that means those charges are like charges. So if these two actually get attracted, say we'll take one more example. As I was telling, we will rub one of the balloon with the woolen cloth and another will take a plastic refill and we will rub it with a polythene cloth. So what happens this time? We'll try to bring those two objects close together. We'll consider this is our balloon which I'm rubbing with woolen cloth and this is our refill which we are actually rubbing it with the polythene cloth. So when I'm trying to get these two objects close nearby, so make sure you will not touch these two objects. You just have to get them close together. So what happens? Observe this particular thing. It is easy activity which you all can do it at your home and enjoy also. So take a balloon and rub it with a woolen cloth. Take your pen refill and rub it with a polythene cloth. Bring those two things together. Observe what happens. Because now we can see that they might get attracted because there are two different charges, two kinds of charges which we can see. So from this activity, what did we understand? That is, like charges will repel each other, unlike charges will attract each other. So this is the characteristics of our charges. Then after this, the next topic which we all are going to see is, let's summarize the observation. So what is the observation? The charged balloon repelled a charged balloon, isn't it? And the next thing is, the charged refill repelled a charged refill. So whenever both the objects are charged with the same type of charge, they will repel each other. If one object is charged, another one is not charged, the charges will transfer from one object to the other object. They will get attracted. But a charged balloon attracted a charged refill. That is what we all saw. So a charged balloon is getting attracted by a charged refill. Why is that so? Because they are two different charges, they will attract each other. And the like charges will repel each other. So this is the whole summary of our characteristics of the charges. Now we have one more particular example or the activity. So what is it? So as you all can see, we have taken a glass jar here and we have taken a holder also, and aluminium foil, and we have a aluminium stripes also. We will cut this particular aluminium foils into 4 x 1 centimeter measurement. So then we will place those two particular paper foils in the aluminium foil. And we will close this particular jar with a lid. And we'll make sure this aluminium foil is coming out. And we will again take the refill, we will rub it with the polythene cloth. Make sure you will not touch the refill or you will not come in contact with any of the metal objects, and bring that particular refill near that particular aluminium wire or the foil which we all have. So what happens? What happens to these particular stripes which are present there? So are they getting attracted or repelling with each other? So it is very evident that they are getting repelled each other. So this is moving this side and this one is moving in this direction, isn't it? Yes. So the aluminium foil, here we have the summary. Aluminium foil stripes receive the same charge from the charged refill through the paper clip. That particular aluminium foil is getting charged through our refill. The next point is, the stripes carrying similar charges repel each other. The stripes carrying similar charges will repel each other. The next thing is, and they're wide open. In our previous picture we saw, right? They were getting separated like this. That is, they are becoming wide open. And such a device can be used to test whether an object is carrying charge or not. And this device is known as the electroscope. This is very important. So what are we learning here? What is an electroscope? So electroscope is actually a device where we can get to know whether that particular object is actually carrying a charge or not. So this particular type of small simple electroscope, which we all can do it in our home and check whether an object is actually charged or not. And then after this, every time you find that the foil stripes collapse as soon as you touch the paper clip with a hand. So what does that mean? You all remember, I just told you all, whenever we have rubbed the refill with a cloth or polythene cloth, so I told you do not touch it, and you do not come in contact with any of the metal objects. So whenever if you actually touch them, the charges present on that foil will actually be loosed. So why is that happening? Let us see that here. So why does it happen then? So the reason is that the foil stripe lose the charges to the earth through our body. So let us say this is a charged body and I am touching this particular charged body. Through my body, this particular object will release and lose all of its charges to the earth. So that is why all the charges will be gone. So we say that the foil stripes are discharged. So that particular whole process is called as discharging. We can call it as discharging. So the process of transferring of charge from a charged object to the earth is called as earthing. So this is also one of the important point. So what is earthing? So we are actually the process of transferring of charge from a charged object to the earth. So this is a charged object. From this, all the charges are moving through my body because I'm touching it and it is flowing through my body and going to the earth. So this process is actually called as earthing. So all the buildings and every houses will be having this particular earthing points because it is very much important for our safety. Why? If there is any flow of currents and there could be electric shocks if we touch this particular objects, right? So in order to avoid all those things, in order to have a proper safety, all the houses, buildings and all the offices will be having a earthing point. What they will do? Let us try to understand. So the next thing is the story of lightning. So once the earthing is done, what is the earthing? So through us, actually there would be a common point taken from all those objects and that is given to the earth. It will be gone inside the earth. So all the excess charges will be flowing through that to the earth. So there won't be any other harmful effects that are happening from all those devices to us. So the next thing is the story of lightning. Now that we have understood so many topics about charges, lights, their characteristics, let us understand about the story of lightning. So how this particular process happens, we will try to understand it through a story. So what is that story? The thing is, we understood there are clouds are actually having the charges because of which there would be lightning. So what is it? So we know that whenever it is raining, the water droplets are coming downwards and the air currents are actually going upwards. So these are two different directions, right? So these are the water droplets and this is the air current. Both are moving in opposite direction. So through this process, what happens is that the charges which are present there actually gets separated. So if there is a cloud which is present, all the positive charges will be collected on the top of the cloud. All the negative charges will be collected on the below the cloud. So that time what happens, we know that air is not such a good conductor of electric charges and electricity. So whenever the clouds and the number of charges becomes very high, the cloud could not resist. The magnitude of the charges becomes very high. The cloud could not resist it. What happens? The positive and the negative charges will combine with each other and that will actually produce a huge amount of sound, heat and also light. So this is about the story of the light. So as you all can see here, I was telling you all that whenever there are clouds like this, so the water droplets will be moving like this. There would be rain, the water droplets, H2O. So it will be moving downwards and the air currents are moving in upward direction. Both are in opposite direction. So the positive charges will get accumulated on the top side and the negative charges will get accumulated on the downside, that is below the clouds. So when the magnitude of those charges is very high, they combine with each other. That forms the lightning. That is through heat, light and the energy that you all can see. So as we were discussing, the air currents move upward while the water droplets move downwards. These vigorous movements cause the separation of charges. And the next point is the positive charges near the upper edge of the cloud, and the negative charges accumulate near the below the clouds. So this is what we all understood right now. The next thing is the magnitude of the accumulated charges becomes very large. So that is what I told you all, right? So the magnitude becomes large. That time actually there is a electrical activity that is taking place. Negative and the positive charges meet, producing a streaks of bright light and the sound. So the next thing is the lightning safety. Lightning safety is also very important. So what are the precautionary measures that we all have to take whenever there is lightning? Finding a safe place is also important. So if there is heavy rain and it is lightning, and what you have to do, you should not be there in any of the open fields. You should be taking up any of the shelters. So make sure, is there any of the shelters nearby? You will go there and find a place for you. So you should not be there in any of the open fields. And the next things, do's and don'ts during a thunderstorm. What we should do and what we should not do during a thunderstorm. So if you are outside the house, so what you will be doing? So open vehicles like motorbikes, tractors, construction machinery, open cars are not safe enough. So I just now told you all, the open space is not enough. So you have to be finding a very good place. So open fields, tall trees, shelters in parks, elevated places do not protect us from lightning. So if there is a lightning happening, do not go near a very big tree and do not be near an open field, and also all these types of shelters, elevated buildings, all those things, please do not go near that particular type of places. Even if there is no shelters, as you all can see, find a small tree nearby you, a short one, and be near that particular tree. So if you are inside, what are the measures that you all have to take? So you are inside your home, you have a shelter already. So lightning can strike the telephone cords, electrical wires, and the metal pipes. So not only the outside we have the danger, even in the inside of the house. So if there is a lightning which is happening outside, that can affect all the wires which are present in the outside. They are nothing but the telephone cords, electrical wires, metal pipes. So during thunderstorm, contact with these should be avoided. So what we will be doing, so you all might have seen whenever there is a thunderstorm happening, what our parents will be doing, they will take out the switches from all the electrical equipments. They will suggest us not to use the cordless, the phones which are there with the cords. So it is preferable to use only the cordless phones, because they will not be having any contact with the lightning. So in this time, what happens, there might be contact of those particular charges through that wire. So if we touch those wires, there would be effect for us. The next thing is, bathing should be avoided during thunderstorm to avoid the contact of flowing water. So why is this? So we should not take bath during thunderstorm. Why is that so? Because we know that water conducts a very good electricity. So the running water, we should not be in contact with the running water, because if there are any chance that the charges get into the water, it might affect us. That is why bathing should be avoided. And the next point is, electrical appliances like computers, TVs should be unplugged. That we all will be doing in our house, right? So if there is a thunderstorm, we will remove all the switches from all the TV and all the electrical appliances which we all have. So the next thing is the lightning conductors. So what is lightning conductors? Lightning conductor is a device used to protect buildings from the effect of lightning. So what is it? So if there is lightning happening, we have to protect our particular building, all the things which are present inside that. That is why we use this particular device. So a metallic rod taller than the building is installed in the walls of the building. So what do? So if there is a huge building, there would be a metallic rod which they will be installing on top of the building, higher than the building, so that all the charges which are coming through that particular lightning will be collected by that particular metallic rod, and that metallic rod will be connected to the earth, and all the charges will be flowing down directly down to the earth, and there are no effects that might happen to us. So install the walls of the building during its construction. One end of the rod is kept out in the air and the other is kept to the ground. So with this, we have come to the end of today's session, where we have discussed about lightning, its causes, effects, and the precautionary measures. So I hope you all have understood about all of the topics that we all have discussed. So we will talk about the other topics in this particular chapter in our upcoming session. Until that, keep watching We Learning, keep learning. Thank you everyone.